You're now tuned into Mic Check Waifu Waifu.
Mic check. Mic check. Waifu, waifu. King Teliano. Is that you?
That week is live, baby.
This is episode 286 of Mic Check Waifu Waifu. As always, it's brought to you by Patreon. Patreon.com/Mic Check Waifu Waifu is where you can get early access to the video version of the podcast. Is where you can get access to the Patreon exclusive podcast, The After Story. It's where you can get access to the commentary episodes. We did episode 1 commentary where we commentated our episode 1 of our podcast, which was 5 years ago now. It was 5 years ago we did episode 1 of Mic Check Waifu Waifu, and we commentated that episode. You get our reactions to our old top 5s, and it's a rough one. Brother. Shout out to Tell Smoke Detector for being the third host in that episode. But shout out to the Patreon producers, Christian, the archivist, Rob from Dad Needs to Talk podcast, Fear, Glazed Yams, Kev the Pro from Chaotic Culture podcast, Explicitly, All for One Matt, Monique Williams, Simi Sensei, Frozen, Rob Stone, and last but certainly not least, our guy, T Money Fingers. Thank you so much for producing this and many other episodes of the podcast. You can support us at patreon.com/Mic Check Waifu Waifus, where you get access to all the aforementioned stuff I mentioned earlier in the podcast. But you also get shout out like that if you decide to produce Mic Check Waifu Waifu. We appreciate you. Again, if you are unfamiliar with the live episodes, at the end of every month, well, we took a long hiatus on it, but at the end of every month, we do a live episode where we sit, chill with you guys. We just created a Twitch literally 2 days ago. For some reason, for 5 years, we haven't had a Twitch, but now we do. And we are streaming on both YouTube and Twitch. So make sure you follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mic Check Waifu Waifu, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.miccheckwaifuwaifu.com is the easiest way to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We appreciate you. All right. Like I said, this is a live episode. So for people who are listening at home in podcast form, which is 99% of our audience, shout out to y'all. We appreciate y'all. We couldn't do this without y'all. Very much appreciate it. You are going to hear us talk to the chat. We are going to read who says what and what they say. So you still be a part of the conversation and won't be kind of wondering what the hell we talking about when it comes to reading chat. Just like TK Does Nothing hopped in to the YouTube chat and said, "What's up, y'all? What's happening, TK? We got your cuts. We're going to read them on the show. We are going to make sure you guys join our Discord too as well. It's easy. Discord.miccheckwaifuwaifu.com. It's the easiest way to communicate with us and be a part of the show. Most of our conversation comes from that Discord. That Discord is full of great people who talk about anime all the time. We got a little forum section where you can create forum posts or do whatever you want to do there. It's awesome. So join the Discord. And then I think that's it. Mic Check Waifu Waifu is the anime podcast. Is brought to you every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. CT. I almost forgot that part. But here we are. Tell, how you feeling, brother?
Man, it's a good week. I am happy to be back.
Me too.
I'm happy to be back to the live episode. This is one of those things that's just it's a direct connection. So I love doing this.
Yeah.
And it's the beginning of the year. We still in January. So hopefully, this is a good beginning to the year with these live episodes. But how you feeling, Brolo?
I'm feeling good, man. Like you said, it's the direct connection that I love with doing live shows. Again, if you can't make the live shows, like if you are one of our producers, Rob Stone, he's over in the UK, I think. Yeah, so he can't normally make it. Just make sure you guys just use the Discord, use the forum post. We post the conversations there and stuff, so it's easier to be a part of the show still. Yeah, I'm feeling good, man. Okay, so let's touch on last week before we get into our sleeper, shall we? So last week we recorded an episode of Mic Check Waifu Waifu, and for the first time ever, we chose not to release it due to what up, Huey? Sorry, Huey. TJ just popped in the YouTube chat. We on Twitch too, Huey. If you want to slide over that way too. But yeah, we decided not to release 286, so we're gonna call that one 286 Dark because we probably never gonna release that one. I was going to edit it, and even after we recorded it, the episode felt off, but again, we didn't release that episode last week because it wasn't good. To be honest, it wasn't our best work. We literally have so many episodes that aren't up to par, but this one was different because it was rambly and it was kind of like, I don't know, just it wasn't us, right?
Yeah.
I still do want to bring up some of the stuff we talked about in that episode, but in a more cleaner manner, more cleaner fashion. So we are going to repeat some of that stuff here, so you're not going to be missing out on too much. But I just wanted to make sure you guys know why we missed last week's episode because it was that was something. That was something. Tell, what was your episode of the week this week?
I'm actually looking over that right now.
Shout out to TK Does Nothing. Just follow us on Twitch. Thank you.
And hear me out. It could be recency bias because I got to watch 3 episodes of it. But
yes,
Honey Lemon Soda is actually insane.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm gonna give that my episode of the week this week. But I did watch 3 episodes this week.
I'm so glad you watched it. Let's go. That's hype. My episode of the week this week. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Make sure y'all drop y'all episodes of the week this week as well. But for me, I think I'm gonna have to go with Tell. This is tough. Oh, yeah, I know what I'm gonna do. Even given the worthless appraiser class, I'm actually the strongest. That is my episode of the week.
That's reasonable.
Crystal just hopped in the chat and said, about damn time also. Hey, y'all.
Oh, she talking to me?
I know. Honey Lemon Soda was incredible. It's my favorite show this winter season for sure. But yeah, mine's is even given a worthless appraiser class. I'm actually the strongest. So let's get into that really quick. We talked about this in that last episode that we are never going to release, but the names this season for some reason are terrible anime names, but they're some of the best shows this season. Even given a worthless appraiser class, I'm actually the strongest is actually so much fun to watch.
It is.
It's kind of like a different take on this particular style of I guess get back story. And I'm more intrigued about this one than I am about any other get back story that we've seen so far.
Yeah.
To be honest.
This one already seems like the path to get back is already different. You know what I mean? And how we've been presented with this character and how they will proceed in the future of this anime, or you know what's coming next in this anime, it already seems like exciting. I will say it reminded me of an anime that we had a hard time with. I can't remember the name of it exactly, but it did remind me it gave me hopes, but it also scared me because what was it? He was raised by like the greatest warrior, mage, and like priest, and then ended up going off the world.
Paladin.
The faraway paladin.
Faraway paladin. There it is. Yep.
After that first 3 episodes, the anime went downhill quickly.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what's gonna happen here, but this one has been so good, like you said, with that name, the way it presented itself, that I just hope it stays like that. Stays good.
100%. Huey TJ says my episode of the week is I Have a Crush at Work, which I still haven't been able to watch because you need a VPN to watch it. Is it on a site that shall not be named, Huey? Is that how I gotta watch it? TK Does Nothing said I just binged the first 3 episodes of Honey Lemon Soda. It's so good. It's one of the best.
Crazy good.
And then one of our Patreon producers, Frozen, says, what's up? The Guild Receptionist, mine, I believe. The Guild Receptionist. Interesting. TCB hopped in the chat and YouTube, said, what's up? Make sure you guys remember, we are on Twitch as well, streaming. So follow our Twitch, twitch.tv/MicCheckWaifu. I just want to kind of like make sure I throw that in there when more people come in. But yeah. This is cut week. So that means we're going to cut some shows or discuss some shows we're on the verge of cutting. We're also going to share you guys' cuts and stuff. Make sure if you haven't already, we yeah, it's on the site that shall not be named. Here, TJ says, but we're going to read from Discord, the Discord forum thread, the live forum thread of everybody cuts and stuff. Gonna be an interesting week. So first, let's start off with some positive. Let's do the positive, negative, positive sandwich.
Okay.
Let's do that because I feel like that's necessary. Let's start off with the positive of this season so far. Your biggest surprises. Let's go.
Biggest surprises. And I know you're not watching it, but I'm just gonna say it now. Medalist is one of the most wholesome anime I've watched in a long time. I am rooting for this one. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm rooting for this. The show has a unique quality to it with like how the relationship is between an adult and a younger person, but it's more motivational. It's almost like that All Might and Deku kind of relationship, but in a different sense. And then, it's figure skating, but it's so like encouraging. So it definitely is a surprise for me. And I do want to bring it up because I know not many people specifically, I think people here will watch it, but I know there's people who are going to just kind of bypass it.
Yeah, in our community, it's actually a popular one. I forgot to give the Discord's episode of the week this week. The Discord episode of the week this week is a tough one. I think it's actually, if I'm not mistaken, yesterday. Yeah, it's Medalist.
Let's go.
Medalist is the Discord episode of the week this week. Christian the Archivist, another Patreon producer. We appreciate you for coming in. What's up, bro? He said, hey, I just got in. Welcome. We just started. Yeah, so a big surprise for me. It's obvious because, okay, let me just clear this up. Usually it's obviously it's going to be Crystal Sleeper. Crystal Sleeper outside of last season is always fantastic. So that's not really a surprise. It just so happens that last season her sleeper was not great alongside mine. It wasn't great. It wasn't great sleepers for us. But Honey Lemon Soda, one of the best shows this season. So that's not really that much of a surprise. However, one of the shows that surprised me the most, honestly, is I left my A-rank party to help my former students reach the dungeon depths. Another one of those ones with terrible name. The name is awful, god awful name, but the show is really good. Shout out to Bandai Namco. They actually freaking cooking with the animation. I mean,
they are
per usual though. They don't skimp out on the animation, but it's such a huge surprise because again, when you see these titles, you think it's going to be a Polo and Tail as anime. And what I mean by that, Polo and Tail as anime, is those shows that are just like in comfort food for us that we know that not everybody gonna like. We are well aware that our tastes when it comes to those shows, we are a lot more forgiving of it because we love Chivalry of a Failed Knight, we love Asterisk War, we love Infinite Stratos, we love all these shows that are just so mid to low tier shows that are just not great. But I don't know. It's just comfort food for us. We know better than that. You know what I mean? But this one is definitely a pleasant surprise.
And I have to agree with that.
Crystal says we don't speak of fall. Christian says Crystal slander is crazy. No, we will never slander Crystal. And then Frozen says my only cut is the daily life of a middle-aged online shopper. It ain't going nowhere. And I'm not that interested. Wow. Okay, we're gonna speak on that a little bit later. If the hype gets better, they're gonna make the game out of it. I swear, Christian says, yeah, they will. And then TCB says A rank been a surprise for me. I've been enjoying it. Yeah, it's very, very nice, man. A very good show so far. It's 20. You could tell that it's a 24 episode show though, because of like kind of like the pacing of the progress. Right, it's a little bit slower than you would hope for, but it's 24 episodes, so it's to be expected. You got to give it some grace for that, as I try to do.
Let it marinate.
Let's go to the bad tell. And where I want to go with the bad in this bad sandwich is that I want to talk about what we talked about last week, but again, in a more cleaner way. There's two shows that we talked about last week that we know that is kind of against the the consensus, I guess, if you will. And the way we talked about it, I was damn near ready to use the antagonist button. It was that rough. However, I will say the one you talked about starting off was Dr. Stone was better this week. It was better this week. But how are you feeling now, feel about Dr. Stone this season?
Like I said last week, I feel like it was wasting my time. I can't really hold back on that because that's exactly how I felt. And even for this new episode, there's a bit of that. And we talked about watching From before we started recording. And it feels like that. It feels like it wasted my time for 18 minutes. And then the last 3 minutes is like, here's something that's happening. And then that's the end of the episode. So yeah, bro. I'm not saying it's bad because I am excited for where it goes. But it took, and I'm not gonna say the whole episode because there were parts of it that were, it was enlightening. It took us to it got us some understanding. It gave us more context of the world. But that's what makes it better. But the last 3 minutes made me upset because it was like, bro, why you do this to me right here?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like, and again, Dr. Stone is the relationship we have with that show is very unique because it was a show that first 4 or 5 episodes in season 1 we were praising. I mean, we have the proof. It's all documented in this podcast. We have the proof of us gushing about Dr. Stone and how cool and unique it was, and just super excited about it and couldn't wait. And then season 1 continued, and then 6, 7, 8, and it continued, and it just turned into this nonsensical, essential nonsense. In season 2, was it the war with Tsukasa? It got a little bit better, and then towards the end of that, it got real good. And then season 3 was amazing. Like, it was so good, like from start to finish. And then now the start of this one kind of went back to its ropes of season 1, the latter half of season 1, which is just a lot of waste of time, a lot of churning and circles, and I don't know. There's just weirdness to it. It just didn't feel right. And I think, and I'm gonna go back to what everybody said, but what Jay Sawyer said, or AKA Frozen, said it perfectly. He says, Dr. Stone is definitely not a week-to-week watch show for me. Only binge when you're bored and got time. Yeah. Like, yes. I think if you're binging Dr. Stone, the feeling that we're having right now, we wouldn't be having. Yeah. Because week to week, it just seems like we're talking in circles. And that's another thing that we got to realize when we're doing the week-to-week podcast is that sometimes it's better to binge a show than it is to watch it week to week.
Yeah.
And I essentially feel that wholeheartedly. Like, I have to kind of take a step back into that space and just like, kind of like be easy, like don't go too hard on the shows that I know that most people can either binge or they really like.
Yeah, we got to give it a chance to breathe, I guess.
Yeah. Is that really an excuse though?
No.
Yeah.
Because like we love the pacing for like we talked about as well. We love the pacing for Solo Leveling. And some people are like, not necessarily feeling it as much as we are. And it could be other context that we read it. And
we are a little biased. Yeah.
Dr. Stone, you know what I mean? And they enjoyed it. They are going to also be a little bit more swayed to that pacing because they kind of understand what's happening.
Yeah, TCB says I'm a bit biased with Dr. Stone since I've read deep into this current arc already. But yeah, if you read it, it would flow by. It would flow by into what we got so far. And then Crystal says I feel the exact same way with Dr. Stone. And the final season is in 3 parts.
Oh brother.
Oh boy. Just don't Attack on Titan us to death.
I was gonna say, are we gonna call this Attack on Stone?
The archivist says, "Oh no, not the Attack on Titan route." Oh yeah, that's that's not a good feeling at all. Oof. Then the next show that we talked about was one that I brought up in last week's episode that we didn't release was Sakamoto Days. We know that this is another popular one. Again, we talked about this last week again, but you guys didn't get to hear it because I didn't release the episode. But I said that going into this show with me being completely removed from Twitter now and just not seeing the hype, knowing that, people in our circle are hyped about it, like Dad Needs to Talk podcast, a producer and supporter of ours, and a few people, they kind of sparked my interest a little bit, but I I wasn't invested as I was with the hype that came with other stuff when we were in that zeitgeist. It's not it looks good animation wise, but so far it just hasn't been a good show. It's like again, another one where it feels like I'm wasting my time. And we talked about the last week's episode last week, but the last week episode where his wife decided to try to jump off of building was so manipulative and disgusting that I'm like, I don't even want to root for her and him and them in this toxic relationship. It just feels weird. It's so weird to the point where I'm like, I'm not having that much fun with it. Now I know that sounds crazy, and I know people aren't too much of a fan of these takes, but I gotta speak my truth, and it's just not going well, and mostly because the silent protagonist, and it's boring. It's just boring.
So I kind of have a funny statement with Sakamoto Days, right? Because I remember last week specifically, I said Mr. Sakamoto is about the only enjoyable character right now. Like, I mean, the characters ain't bad, but I feel like him being the silent protagonist actually kind of carries a lot of what we're seeing, and the clairvoyance of like what he's thinking. That's kind of hilarious, right? And that's what's kind of carrying it for me for the most part. But oddly enough, I felt like this week's episode was better, and I find that ironic because it almost feels like we focus on Mr. Sakamoto less. And I thought it would have to be the opposite for me to enjoy the show more. Because I thought Mr. Sakamoto was what was carrying the show for me. But then I realized maybe it's just the context of him being around, and then the other characters can be what drive the show for me. But I also agree like that. I had to temper the expectations. The show itself is cool. It looks great. I think it looks phenomenal even. You know what I mean? I thought what was happening this week was great. I'm not necessarily tied to anything yet, though.
No, that's the point that I make. We always talk about how characters are so important in world. I'm not tied to the world or characters like at all. It's just going to be the same thing over and over, and hence why I think it's 11 episodes. It's 11 episodes because it ain't gonna be much to it. Ain't gonna be much story to it. It's just him trying to protect himself and his family, his newfound family with his store workers and him and his real family. And it's just gonna be him kicking ass, which is dope. Dope. And Huey TJ said it best. Huey TJ said Sakamoto is truly John Wick. Turn off your brain when you watch. Yeah, that's easy to do. It's super easy to do. And it's a binge, not a week to week. I can see that too. But compared to everything else that I'm getting, that's like perfect, cozy comfort food anime, I'm not really having that much fun with it. Frozen says, I got a slightly hot take on Sakamoto Days. I enjoyed the manga, and I feel like this story is told better through comic book. The anime is giving me Saturday morning cartoons. Wow, great point. Yeah. Great point, actually. You still enjoy it, though. I get it, though.
Right. It could be the attention span thing. They're trying to keep people in with the action versus like developing other things, which I don't think it's bad. I'm just saying, for instance, it's something that maybe it would be a much better binge to get everything out of the way and let it progress the way that is meant to progress, so to speak, in that back-to-back watch.
I still think that manipulative move his wife made to get him was super toxic, though.
Yeah, that's wild.
Jackie Chan Adventure vibes, Frozen says. Good point. Yeah, I used to love Jackie Chan Adventures, by the way. She was fantastic. But that was definitely something you just turn off your brain and enjoy. All right. And then back to some good real quick. Well, sorry, I got to bring back up my Anilist. So many tabs open right now.
1,000 of them.
Apothecary Diary Season 2, and then ReZero is back in 9 days.
Man.
How exciting is that? Me too.
I'm so excited.
Me too.
Apothecary Diaries is already amazing, bro. It's already amazing. I love Xiao Mao.
Yeah.
I love her so much. She does a great job at everything she does. And even the revelations we get in this most recent episode and kind of seeing how things progress and play out. I love how they just build the story, and they layer it on top of context that we already received. Apothecary Diaries is great. So I'm so happy for season 2, but ReZero coming back is that's excitement. I'm so hyped for that.
Apothecary Diaries is like the show that's the opposite of everything we talked about so far. Huey TJ, Frozen, and everybody that said this is a better binge, they're spot on. Apothecary Diaries is a way better week to week watch, in my opinion. Only for the discussion. I think it's a better week to week watch if you have something like, it's not to sound crazy, but if you have Mic Check Waifu spoiler talk, to just sit back and listen to theories from us, and then you share your own theories, and then going back and forth, that conversation that we have with Apothecary Diaries, I think is what makes Apothecary Diaries the best week to week show probably since Summertime Rendering, to be honest, or Freerun. Even Freerun was another great one. And then our ReZero talks are also crazy. So like week to week wise, I think it's a great show week to week. But however, you won't miss much binging it either, or you. Not say you won't miss much, but you would enjoy it just as much binging it. So I don't know. All right, moving on from that. Let's get to the cuts, Till.
Okay, here we go.
Winter 2025 anime. What are y'all cuts? We already got Frozen. She says he's cutting. And I'm gonna go here. The daily life of a middle-aged online shopper in another world. It's not supposed to go anywhere, Frozen. And this is what I wanted to talk about. This show ain't supposed to go anywhere. It's supposed to be that cozy show like Campfire Cooking was, where it's just you enjoying him navigate this world with his skill. And that's when you sit back, you relax, and you just watch with a smile on your face. You watch him fucking smash everything that walks, apparently, which is just crazy, which is a different take on this, because usually these characters are scared of women, but he's just like, whatever, sleeping with all kinds of women and whatnot. But it's just an enjoyable show that is just fun to watch. Like Campfire Cooking from Another World. It's just fun. It's just, you just chill and you see what hijinks is going to happen. Like him building this cabin in the woods. Spoilers, I guess. But again, this ain't nothing to spoil. It's just fun. It's just something chill that you sit back and enjoy and have a good time. So I don't think it's supposed to go anywhere,
I have to agree. It's one of those shows that is just meant to put you in a setting, and that's what you're enjoying, is the setting itself.
I just read what Jay Sawyer said. Frozen said he need to buy STD test.
For real.
Nah, straight up. Okay, let's go through discourse of some of these cuts. And then Christians as well. That Needs to Talk actually says, I've really been enjoying this season so far. On the top of the great returning shows like Solo Leveling and Apothecary, I found a lot of joy and comfort in all these isekai and fantasy shows. They have just been fun and interesting to watch. Also, shout out to there being a solid amount of simul-dub shows like Sakamoto Days, Metalist, and a few of the fantasy shows. You're right. I didn't know Metalist was dubbed. That might get me a little interested, maybe, kind of, sort of.
It's an easy watch.
Yeah. Sakamoto Days, Christian the Archivist said the dub is bad. I disagree. I think the dub is the best part about Sakamoto Days, mostly because Matthew Mercer is Sakamoto, but he barely talks, which is unfortunate. The girl, I will say the girl that was with the Chinese mob, her voice is a little rough to handle. But everybody else has been fine. It's been fine.
PCB said he wrote a thesis.
I wrote a goddamn thesis on one of my cuts I saw. We all that's funny. All for One Matt says this season is definitely better than last season already. These new shows have definitely kept my attention each week. But here are my cuts. Magic Maker, which is Tail Sleeper, so I'm have to watch it. And 2, Fell in Love with an Okinawan.
So Magic Maker, I completely understand. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I understand that one. The Okinawan one actually does not bother me as a watch. And I'm not sure, because I don't think I haven't heard Polo say anything about this one.
Not watching it.
It is, to me, I think it's relatively simple. There are some annoying points in it, but it's one of those shows I turn on and I'm watching for those interactions, and I actually do I guess I enjoy the characters. But yeah, bro, it's okay. I can understand why it's a cut, and I can see it being cut by anybody.
Crystal says, I fell in love with an Okinawan is a chaotically cute. What does that mean exactly?
It's a lot of intertwined feelings. Like love triangle essentially. Essentially.
Hold on now. My ears just perked up. You think I would like it from what y'all watched?
It's not messy. It's not messy.
Nah.
But it's still like a love triangle. But it's not messy at all, actually. It's more of a cute thing.
I like messy. Crystal says no. She says no, I won't like it. I gotta pull back up Discord on my browser. There we go. This was interesting. TCB, he says, my only cut is leaning towards Ubel Blatt. He gave it a 3-episode chance. He said, I was trying to come up with the why, and it's just not working for me. Almost like it's so bad it's good. I felt compelled to keep watching for the morbid curiosity. I'm like, that's wild. I had to reply to say that's wild. He says, like they have makings of the decent to even solid revenge action anime with all the fixing, but somewhere along the way, it's just not synergizing. I think this is one of those adaptations where I may just stick with the source of it. Feel like I want to keep it. I feel like if I want to keep it, I think he's meant. You know what? Then he changes his mind about 30 minutes later and says, you know what? I'll stick with it for now. But God, episode 3 was rough. He says, other than that, yeah, nah, nothing else I've been watching feels it's been cut worthy. A damn good season so far. I said, see, I only watched the 2 episodes, which is still the case. I only seen 2 episodes. And I thought they was fire. I talked about it last week. I caught up on Ubel Blatt last week in the episode podcast of 286 Dark that I just not going to go live. I enjoyed it. I'm like, yo, this shit is fire. Like the world building, the characters is so good so far. I'm extremely interested in what's going on and how this is going to play out. But he said episode 3 was rough. I didn't see episode 3. So
no. To give my insight to what TCB is saying, and I could be interpreting this wrong, but this is how I've been viewing Ubel Blatt, because I don't dislike it, but I think that it is basically the Flash. It is zooming through stuff super fast, and it's, to me, it feels like it's just shifting from situation to situation. It's like the same situation, but shifting them so quickly. Like there's not an act 1, act 2, act 3 of each episode. There's like a act 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 of each episode.
Oh shit! Okay.
And that's how it's feeling to me. Like they're just shifting from scene to scene. You get this scene played out, but it's like it's not quite causing a resolution. It almost seems like they're stacking more lore on top of things without like thoroughly explaining anything yet. But I do really, it's something about it that has me like kind of like I'm enjoying it. Quinzel, I really want to see what's gonna happen with him because I love like the context of what we got with him in the first 2, even to this 3rd episode. I love the context we got with him, but like it's not necessarily it doesn't feel like it's continuously being built on, and that's where my disengagement comes from.
Another show that he cut that he was reminded of thanks to Crystal was Momentary Lily, which is one that everybody cut in our community. So that's not anything new.
I tried it.
Yeah. Crystal says, just in case I missed a live, I am enjoying this season so much. I feel like all the healing from the terrible fall. I cut 2 shows, Momentary Lily and Ban Vampire. Don't look it up. Don't ask questions. Just no. Hell no. Now, because she said that, we're going to look it up.
I'm telling you. Let's see.
Bam. There it is. When a 15-year-old Rihito falls in love with an ancient vampire who craves 18-year-old virgin blood, must protect the teen's virginity at all costs.
Come on, man. Ain't no way.
Okay. I get why you cut it. I get why you cut it. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Crystal, yep, that makes sense as to why you cut it.
What episode made you cut it? Which episode made you cut it?
I don't even think you need to be asking all them questions. She also says, my sleeper is phenomenal and I've redeemed. She said one. Yeah. Yeah, your sleeper is one of the best shows this season, easily.
Easily.
By far, and it's not even a question. Let me take a quick break to say that Unnamed Memory is worth the watch, man. It's so fucking good now. And I say that to say, because how can I say this without spoiling? I can say it. It's a dichotomy. It's a dichotomy thing. Think of it as the red pill, blue pill, essentially.
All right.
What happened in season 1 was the blue pill. At the end of season 1, they take the red pill. And now you're watching the red pill. And it's fucking good. It is so good. Like once you get past that, right? Once you understand the concept of it, because now it's this whole intertwining thing that's going on that feels very interesting. It's worth the watch now, especially Crystal, because you get to binge these episodes, and it's going to feel a lot better to watch too. But I seriously thoroughly enjoy what they did with this whole swap. It would have been better if they would have just did it like a first core and then waited like a month and then came out with this one, because season 1 for all of us left a terrible, terrible taste in our mouth. And I get it. I 100% understand. But this time it's like, oh, I get why they did that. And once you get the why they did that, it's very, 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 very good as to where it's headed now, especially after that most recent episode that happened. Fine.
Yeah, episode was great.
It was so good. Unnamed Memory got a redemption before Twin Star Exorcist. It's wild as fuck, Kristen the Archivist says. No, it's not. It's not that wild, actually.
The anime garbage. Oh, brother.
TK Does Nothing shocked me with this one. Frozen said if it's dubbed, I'll watch it. That's a good reason. TK Does Nothing says, I told myself that I wasn't going to watch no more than 12 anime this season, and I ended up dropping 3 and adding 4 more.
Oh my goodness.
I know that pain. He says, I dropped Dr. Detective, Red Ranger Isekai, and the Otaku ni Konoichi. I picked up Ishura season 2, binged season 1, after he binged season 1, and then The Daily Life of a Middle-Aged Online Shopper, Honey Lemon Soda, and I left my A-Rank Party. So those are the ones he picked up. I will have to say Ishura, he posted something in Discord talking about how much he's enjoyed it as well. And I gotta say, I watched 3 episodes of season 1. That show stinks, in my opinion. I'm
on like episode 9 of season 1, and I think there's some interesting things in it. But it's another one of those shows that feels like it's a breakneck speed.
Yeah.
What's some interesting stuff.
What's the term you used for the conversation we had at the beginning of the podcast for From? It was
full of allegories.
Allegory. It was allegory heavy. That's what Ishura felt like too. Very, very much so. And I'm like, yeah, you're doing too much for me personally. That's just my opinion. I'm glad he's enjoying it though. Let me know how season 2 is, TK, though. So when you finish season 2, let me know. I'm really curious as to see how it turns out. Yeah. How you feeling about his drops though, Dr. Detective? I know that's a popular or was a popular one at the start of the season.
Dr. Detective, I'm only watching it because it's something that my wife and I would watch. But I do think that it's not necessarily super interesting. The Red Ranger Isekai. 100% worth drop. I'm actually enjoying it, but I can see 100% why other people would not. And Otaku ni Kunoichi, I didn't even watch this week's episode.
That show is awful. It's awful. It's just real bad. I tried though. I tried the Otaku ni Kunoichi, and I thought it was gonna be like my kind of like just
your kind of
garbage, etchy fun. It's not even that. It's not it. Spoilers for my drops. It's not it. It's not a good show. And then Dr. Detective, I've watched the most recent episode and it's still just meh.
Yeah.
It's nothing. And you know what the problem is? It might be because Apothecary Diaries is out now. So it's kind of hard when they kind of doing the same thing.
That's crazy because they are in the same space. Kind of.
But
It's not hitting. It's not hitting.
It's not hitting at all. Very unfortunate though, because the concept of it is interesting. But
it's going to be because they're doing things too fast still, you know what I mean? If these were solving these cases by a 2-episode basis, that actually would probably be way more interesting.
Yeah.
Give us more time to flesh it out, make it more enticing, you know, give you time to figure out what's happening next week.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know, it's just not it. TCB says Rare Ranger Isekai is stupid, dumb fun. I'm liking that one. I'm not a Sentai fan, but you know, I lay that to y'all. I'm not a Sentai fan at all. And then Christian the Archivist, aka DeathSight, says, I'm gonna put it here. Madeka is impervious just because I dislike the main MC. Still gonna give it the 3-episode rule, even given its worthless skill I may drop as well. What? Even given the worthless skill you may drop? That's crazy. The pacing just gets too slow in my opinion. Zenshu was cool. For some reason, I'm not getting the motivation to watch. Those are my maybe drops, but I'm still on episode 1 of each. And I think that's the issue. That is the issue. Well, I mean, if that's how you feel, but that's how you feel. But
yeah, if that's how you feel, I get it. I think Zenshu is a hard one to feel that way about because it surprised me. It knocked me off my feet. Me too. Or swept the rug from underneath me is what I would say. But I get it. Madaka, I can also get that one. I don't like necessarily the MC either, but I'm still rocking with it. I'm gonna give it. I'm probably gonna watch the whole thing because I feel I can see a connection. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I guess that puts us in into our cuts, or maybe cuts, or close to cuts, or whatever we want to categorize it as. Tell.
You want to start? You want me to start?
You can start.
All right. My first cut, I knew I was going to cut it anyway. I ain't going to lie to you. I just watched it just because. Promise of Wizard. I tried to give it a chance. I talked about this before. I don't have an issue with the whole male harem group thing. That's not a problem.
Yeah, of course.
The show just sucks. The magic sucks. The guys are like prettier than the girl. The show sucks. I ain't gonna lie to you. So yeah, I'm taking Promise of Wizard. The story's not going anywhere. It's not emotionally investing. So yeah, that's my first cut.
Crystal says, I'm surprised anyone was watching that besides me. Yeah, we know that show bag. Yeah, and so for me, mine's is tough because it's like I want to cut it, but it's not that hard to watch. And that's honestly it's Dr. Detective, man. I'm not having that much trouble watching it. I did watch at hour 0 of before recording the podcast because I didn't want to watch it. But when I watched it, I'm like, okay, it's fine. I think what I'm going to do with Dr. Detective is I'm going to set it to a non-priority. And by non-priority, what that means is if I don't watch it, I don't watch it. If I don't feel like watching it, I just won't watch it. And if I decide I'm going to watch it, I'm going to watch it. Yeah. Frozen says, I'm going to tell the show stinks. I didn't even finish episode 1. But yeah, Dr. Detective is one that's on the non-priority, possibly cut list.
Yeah.
You got another one?
Yeah, I got all right. My next one is, where is it at? From Bureaucrat to Villainous, Dad's been reincarnated. It was funny to start.
Wait.
It was funny.
Read that title again? Sorry.
He said, read the title again. From Bureaucrat to Villainous.
Okay.
Dad's been reincarnated. Okay. Is the name of it. Now, like I said, it started off funny because you got this middle-aged dad who gets reincarnated as this villainous in a show. Yeah. I actually really enjoy these villainous shows. I have been watching them over the last few seasons, just not talking about them. Nah, bro. The man playing this role, and it's funny when he's playing the role because he's thinking about how he should play the role. But then you look at this 40-year-old man manipulating underage situations. Like he's a 16, 17-year-old girl, and then he goes to it's a little weird. It's a little weird. He's thinking about it in an old man fashion, but for kids, and it's crazy.
Seems creepy.
He's
Very,
getting
very,
dropped.
very, very creepy. I'm kind of with the archivist with this one. Mendeka, it's just not it. I watched 4 episodes technically, right? Oh no, 3 episodes. It's just not it, bro. The main character do stink. She's absolutely garbage. She's not even that cute for her to be all this. I'm so cute. This perfect girl type play. It is neat to see her kind of like evolve a little bit, but I'm kind of bored with it, right? Like I have such good romance anime right now with Honey Lemon Soda that it's hard for me to even want to care about these 2 knuckleheads. And then, like I said, the fact that his reasoning behind just is just because he is basically a monk is boring. I think it would have been cooler if he was like this stone cold guy that's like, I'm not interested in the popular girl. She doesn't interest me. And that dynamic would have been a cooler watch. I think it would have been more fun that way. So yeah, this is one that's probably going to get dropped, but I am going to keep it in my list, my airing list, so I can not only make Crystal mad at how disgusting my anime list is, but maybe go back to it and binge it later type deal, but probably won't. Everything else for me though, I think is pretty clean.
I got a couple more.
Oh shit, a couple more. Oh yeah, you did have way more.
Yeah. And when I say I got a couple more, some of these are going to be like, so this one is a definite drop. Aquarian Myth of Emotions. I started watching this one. It's basically a mech anime about an apocalyptic situation where these dream monsters come and try and destroy the world. And it's 3 kids and their friend die, and et cetera, et cetera. She helps them try and figure out how to fight these creatures. It's cool, but it's a little too power friendship for me, and I definitely think it's set for a younger age demographic.
Okay.
It's not the mecha that throws it off, because the mecha is cool, but it's just the way that it's positioned. I'm a little too adult for this. But I can see it working out good if I was letting my son watch it.
Okay.
And then Farm Magia. This is it looks like Fairy Tale.
Oh yeah, I did see that one.
I legit only put this on my list because it's about raising monsters, and you know I'm a Pokemon fan. Nah, bro. These characters are actually very bad. They remind you of the Fairy Tale characters. So if you like the Fairy Tale characters, if you like Fairy Tale, then you got it. This might be for you if you like Fairy Tale and you mix it with Pokemon. But hear me out. These characters have no sense of chemistry. They're all complete opposites, and it doesn't mesh well together. So that is what's throwing me off about it. It's not even the way in which they harvest their monsters or cultivate their monsters or whatever. The show itself is Fairy Tale with even worse chemistry amongst characters and communication.
Even worse.
Yeah,
wow.
Even worse. So it's getting dropped because I can see it getting better, but I'm not the demographic for this. Like Keith Lee would say, I'm not the target demographic.
Interesting, man. Interesting. Yeah, and everything else I'm really enjoying, man. The most cozy, easy season for me to watch, I think, personally. I don't have too much that is overbearing to handle this season. I think in total I'm watching maybe like 20 shows, which is insane to even say, right? Like one about yeah. Holy shit. Yeah, it's about 20 shows.
Yeah,
but it's not bad. You know, it's not bad. It's very easy to watch. Cause like
I got.
Go ahead.
No, I got 36.
Still?
Yeah.
How sway? That's crazy. And then ReZero coming back too.
That's 37. That's
about to be 37. Yep.
It's literally 37.
Yikes. How are y'all feeling about My Happy Marriage? Is anybody still watching My Happy Marriage?
Yes.
Yeah, how you feeling about it?
You know how I feel about the mom.
Oh yeah.
I think we have a shared perspective on that.
And she could bite it.
Yeah, 50 cal. But I shouldn't say that.
That's crazy.
But it's Actually, I feel like it's getting a lot better than I'm enjoying this part more already than I enjoyed season 1.
100%.
And I'm not saying season 1 I feel like I was a little shaky with on the beginning. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like I was shaky on the beginning, and it really I'll start to warm up to it later on.
I was the opposite.
I'm feeling like I'm enjoying this already.
Yeah.
Like I'm enjoying this already. So I think that My Happy Marriage is actually a highlight for this season.
I was the opposite last season. I was enjoying the beginning of it, and then the magic powers came in. And I'm like, and then it wasn't bad. It didn't ruin it. It just felt weird, not a place. But like TCB says, is the pieces are moving. I love it. Oh no, TK Does Nothing says it got spoiled for me by another podcast. I just left it alone. No.
Oh, that's trash.
That's unfortunate. Sorry. That's so unfortunate. But yeah, no, it's My Happy Marriage. This season has been incredible. Even with the power stuff. So I've been enjoying it even way more than I did in season 1. So
it also could be because now we're expecting the power system.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
It's not coming out in left field.
And even with the conversation with like the mom, the whole fact that she didn't know what was going on, and then she gets this, oh, hold up, you was being all that, you was like that. I'm not trying to give spoilers, but she was
I'm about to say, you about to blow our people back just like TK was.
I'm telling you, man, it's so good.
Nah, yeah, it's real good though. It's real good. Yeah, I mean I guess that's it. I guess we gonna roll into spoiler talk. After we get to know Mike Check Waifu. Anybody else got anything a show they want to discuss? I know Solo Leveling is still doing great. Oh, actually, TCB, how you feeling about the most recent episode of Solo Leveling? That we didn't get inside of the Discord, did we? I don't think we did. Nope. Very curious about that. Is it my turn? It's your turn to read the question. My turn to roll around the number generator for Get to Know. What are we spoiling this week? What y'all watch this week that y'all want to talk about?
We got some good things we can spoil. Like I said, I watched Honey Lemon Soda, so we can talk about that one too.
I really want to talk about Honey Lemon Soda. Let's say that as the last thing we're going to talk about Honey Lemon Soda. Apothecary Diaries. And Zenshu. You want to do Zenshu?
Yeah, we can do that.
TK Does Nothing says Zenshu. Yeah, let's do that. All right, so we're going to start off with Apothecary Diaries. Then we're going to go into Zenshu. And then we're going to discuss Honey Lemon Soda. But before we do that, let's get to know Mike Check Waifu. This is part of the podcast where you get to know us as hosts, where I roll or one of us rolls a random number generator, and the other reads the question associated with that number. Oh yeah, Damachi do come back in 11 days too. I can't wait to binge that. That's going to be great. The number is 71.
71. What anime character do you think deserves their own spin-off series?
Wait, what'd you say?
What anime character do you think deserves their own spin-off series?
Okay, feel free to answer in the chat as well if y'all would like. What anime character deserved their own spin-off series? What a great question. Ooh.
Like a fully fleshed out series?
Yeah. Huh.
Let me see.
Room for ReZero, Christian the Archivist says.
I did think that. But, and hear me out, Polo kind of knows why. But I actually would love a Makase Kirisu, just entire spinoff.
Like a slice of life of that one?
Almost like give us like context, like her specific point of view.
She's from Steins Gate, by the way.
Up until the point to where she becomes the like, you know, the, I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
The integration part. You know what I mean? In season 2. I would even like to see that perspective and how that even thinks and looks from that point of view. I actually think that could be really cool. And I mean, it could be because I love that character so much.
I think, and this is her name is Hizuru from Summertime Rendering. Hizuru was the girl in the suit, the adult lady in the suit that kind of knew what was going on in Summertime Rendering. I kind of want more of her story, like because she's an author, I believe, or something like that. More of what she kind of went through and learned from on this island or leaving this island. I think that would be a super interesting a character story for sure. Everything else I was going to mention already has like OVAs or something of the side characters, so it would be pointless for me to even mention it. But yeah, all right. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to spoil Apothecary Diaries Season 2, Episode 3, and then Zenshu, Episode 4, and last but certainly not least, Honey Lemon Soda, Episode 3. Oh, wait, we got some from the chat as well. Christian the Archivist says, actually, Himamari for Uzumaki from Naruto, which is Naruto's Boruto's little sister. That'd be a great one, actually. She deserves it all, actually. Frozen says, Gary from Pokemon. Let's follow the better trainer.
Facts.
Oh, you think facts on that?
Gary is definitely better than Ash, 100%.
Really? Okay. Well, you know,
especially in the beginning, he was way better than Ash. Now, come 12, 13, 15 seasons down the line, not even, it's way more than that even. You know, years down the line, then, you know, Ash is finally better. So yeah, I'm agree with Gary for sure.
Wow. Okay. I don't watch Pokemon, so that's interesting. I like that. I like that take for sure. All right, we're gonna take this quick break. Enjoy this. I believe it's called Take Flight from Burnwater. No pun intended on my name and my stream and everything, but enjoy it. We'll be right back after these. Maybe if it plays.
that one person that's not.
Mic check.
Don't allow them to have that much.
That song was fire.
To where you're not happy or
And
what it is that you
welcome Black to episode 286 of Mic Check Waifu Waifu. All right, Christian the Archivist, thanks for hanging, brother. We appreciate you.
Much love.
He said he's adding it to his Spotify list. That's Burn Water is great. TK does nothing for the question that we have for what character deserves their own like side story or side anime. He says Izumi Curtis from Full. I don't know why I just went full Chris Brown list me there. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Interesting. What you think, Tel? You looking it up to remember?
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure. Because I know who Curtis is. I'm trying to make sure I know exactly who we're talking about. But if it's who I'm thinking about, then yes, 100% they deserve. Oh yeah, 100% she deserves all that love. And I would love to see more context behind how she became who she became. So yes, I agree.
All right. Apothecary Diaries. You know what? You're right, Till I could have released the spoiler talk for 286 Dark last week too. I should have did that. I'm probably still going to do that. But we did a great spoiler talk on the episode before this one for Apothecary Diaries. But this episode is full spoilers for episode 3 of Apothecary Diaries season 2. So if you haven't seen it, turn it off, come back later, listen later. You know how this goes if you're familiar with our content.
Right.
One of the best shows ever. It unfortunately came out the same year as Freerun, so we couldn't give it our anime of the year. But it would have been the anime of the year if Freerun didn't exist. I'm gonna just put it that way. Am I wrong with that, Till?
No, you're not. It definitely was the anime that caught us off guard the most and gave us some of the most enticing world and contextual views that we've gotten in the show for a while. It just came out in the same year as Freerun. Can't even hold it there.
Yeah.
It was a bad year to come out.
Yeah, unfortunately. So this one was intriguing, this episode, because I was expecting the girl to be somewhat involved. You know, the girl that she met that told her about picking these mushrooms?
Right.
I thought she was going to be involved in this episode somehow.
And we talked about this. I think we did talk about this in last week's spoilers, how they're just setting the tone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That it's almost like a smoke screen. They're hiding their hand with something to play forward. So it's like almost like a game of poker where it's like they're giving that sign, that tell. I wasn't surprised that she wasn't necessarily involved, but I would not be surprised if she's not involved in other ways.
I still think she's involved because of what happened at the end of this episode with her realizing that mushroom that fell at the end there when Jishin's guy took the her mushrooms away. But I do think she's still a part of it. And I'm also curious to see what's going to happen with what she noticed this episode with the was the lady in waiting hand and whatnot.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those things where, and I don't know how to put the pieces together necessarily, because I feel like it's one of those things where it could be one of those malicious things where we're forcing the mushrooms on them, but I'm not sure if that's the route. I think that it's one of those things where they were cultivating them. Yeah. And maybe it was supposed to be on a grander scale, and this was done before it could get to that point. You know what I mean? To keep someone quiet even. Yeah.
I don't this show never does anything without a reason. There's always, like, I talked about this in the 286 Dark that isn't going to air probably ever, but it's the fact that sorry, I'm adding in the middle of the podcast right now. It's the fact that this show is all about like what did I say last week? Like not speaking on conjecture. The fact that they always bring up purpose, and I forgot what the last one was because it was last week. It pisses me off that I can't remember, but it's just so intriguing for like what's happening in the pavilion, right? With the girls, with the I talked about this in last week's spoiler talk, but the scents, the tea, and all the things that are going on that stops pregnancy. Like somebody is behind this trying to hurt the pavilion in a major way. We realized that last season, at the end of last season, how they tried to take out Jinshi, but like it's becoming so what's the word I'm looking for? Dark or underhanded that it's hard to even like fathom what kind of other underhanded tactics they're going to use to try to hurt the pavilion and why.
And what I do find funny is that they make this one of those scenarios. This show makes this a scenario where you almost don't understand how grand the situation is, right?
Yeah.
If the concubines are unable to get pregnant, what this ultimately means is that the emperor's domain that they're in is not having an heir. That's the kind of attack this actually is. This is not something small. This is actually something huge, but because of how they play it out in the show, this almost seems like any regular day kind of event.
What if it's Lady Gyoka, which is the main lady that Mao Mao works for? What if it's her fucking puppeteering it all?
Mao Mao's going to expose it soon enough.
But wouldn't that be nuts? Like she's just trying to prevent all the other concubines from having heirs, so her little princess can be the little princess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think she's pregnant now too, so.
Yeah. It does. They keep showing us those scenes.
Yep.
So that definitely could be the scenario we run into. But there has to be more. And you know what I do find funny is that they gave us that like moment last season with her dad. And I almost felt like he's going to be more involved. But we still got a great kind of like ending with him regardless. But I'm trying to see where the ley lines kind of go with this show. Because like you said, they don't do anything for no reason. I want to see where this is going to stack and go to next.
Yeah, it's so captivating. That's the best word to describe it. Mao Mao and this is what the synopsis says. Mao Mao and Jinshi face palace intrigue as a pregnant concubine's safety is looming in a looming conspiracy collide. What is it? It's so much. It's so much. You just don't know. You just don't know, unfortunately. But all in all, one of the best shows ever. I enjoy it. Has an 85 on Anilist, rightfully so, for season 2. Probably be a 95 if it was up to me, but it isn't. All right, Zenshu, brother.
All right.
Zenshu is secretly one of my favorite shows this season.
Secretly?
Why
is it a secret?
Because it's kind of, and I'm glad Christian the Archivist is gone, but it's kind of magical girl-esque. Kind of a little bit, got a little bit of hints of that, right? Where it is an issue here. Somebody has to quote unquote transform to solve this issue. But I think it's more than that. I think it's very there's this underlying plot that's going on within this show that I still believe is so intrinsic to what this show is, right? It's, she's in her favorite movie series. She died from these clams, but again, I don't think she's dead. You know what I mean? I think this is a situation where she's in a coma or something like that, and this is just her mind teaching her to like
be creative,
find a way to get past this. I think drawer's block, if for lack of a better term, she had artist block. Yeah, it's like it's so interesting because it's putting these scenarios that are actually making her rethink or find creative ways of changing
solving a problem.
Yeah, solving a problem, or what's they call it? What the little writing stick, the drawing stick calls it? A new something, a new fate must be drawn or something like that. Something along the lines of that. I think it has something to do with that. I think that's a bigger deal than what they're letting on.
So she's rewriting possibly her own fate even when she starts to, because in that first episode they did talk a lot about how she's gonna change all of our lives. She's our $1 million writer and all that kind of stuff. So they did give us a lot of that. And that could be the case because I can't imagine she dies from clams that quick, unless she has a seafood allergy.
Like your boy. Because I would die that quick.
But I can definitely see where the greater picture is going with this. And I feel like eventually we're going to get to a capstone part of this show where it is ultimately almost like she runs back into that creator's block, that artist block. And her favorite story, her favorite manga is going to illustrate or give her a reason to illustrate a way to get past that creator's block, which ultimately I think this is a beautiful show for it, and I've been enjoying it. Definitely, like every moment of it to me has actually been quite enjoyable.
I think this is one of the best dubs I've probably ever heard. Her voice, Hirose, her voice is so good. And again, I talked about this last week was it 2 weeks ago? Her voice is so good because her hair is just covering her mouth flaps. So the voice actor is allowed to just kind of like freely play with the voice acting in the show. And it just turns out so much better than typical voice acting. It makes her much more likable, much easier to watch. It's so easy to watch because of the dub is so good. That's why I'm enjoying it. And then this most recent episode with Mimolin and her reasoning for ultimately trying to become the ultimate void was sad yet crazy but understandable, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, and it is crazy in the aspect of thinking about it like this way, right? You're a manga creator inside of a story, watching the emotions or true feelings of another story be written out and how they're playing them out. And I almost even feel as if this show is going to do a deviation where she's not going to exactly know what's happening. And we already kind of got a little bit of hint of that in a previous episode. But I do feel like we're going to get those deviations where it's going to start being less like the story she knows, and that's going to be the antithesis to her creative process. But this show is, like I said, it's giving me so much to love watching.
To go back to Mimolin though, and her becoming the ultimate void, the reason why she wanted to become the ultimate void was because she's lived for thousands of years and saw hundreds and hundreds of her friends die to these void creatures. So she's like, I'm just ready to end it all. Like, I don't want to see or lose anyone else anymore. Or if we lose, or if we have to lose our friends, let's all go together type deal. That was her mindset with kind of ending it all. And unironically, I felt it was kind of meaningful, right? Like she found it, this is weird to even talk about, but she cared enough to feel like that she needed to go this route in order to end the suffering of not only herself, but a lot of her people too.
Yeah.
But I can,
which is noble.
That's why, again, and to not to bring this up, but that's why Frieren is so good, because wrestling with that ideal of being alive for 1,000 years, like most elves are in fantasy realms, is kind of like disturbing. Because if you hang around other races that you don't live as long, i.e. Frieren and i.e. what's happening here, how do you handle losing the people you become close to?
You
always
eventually become numb. You know what I mean? And the thing is that, and that's why, oh my God, this is not a Frieren conversation. That's why Frieren is so good, because she doesn't necessarily become numb to it, even though she's seen her friends die for over a millennia. But you imagine that's how it is. Yeah. When you've lived for hundreds of years, thousands of years, and you watch these people's lives just go away, they and I hate to say it this way, they become like that pet cat, pet dog you might have had, that eventually they will go away, and that's the only way you're going to have to remember them. You're going to have to know that your time with them is limited, which sucks, but that's just the reality of the situation.
And after a millennia, she's like, I had enough.
Yeah, let's erase all of this. You know what I mean?
In her particular case, for going back to Zenshu, Millen is like, I'm over it, which is so interesting to think about because again, the artist within who created this series, I think, had to account for that, and I think that's a message that could be passed on to our girl Natsuko, like. Just account for it all, you know, build your characters. I think it's also a way to get her out of this artist block that she's into. Like, give it, because her favorite movie has so much care in it, hence why she fell in love with it, hence why she started doing this particular job, hence why she's in this particular situation to get that love back for artistry. I think that's why this Zenshu is just such a great show. I know a lot of people haven't been enjoying it, at least amongst our community, but I feel like this is one of the better shows.
Yeah, it's got the layers that you peel them back, and it is just that good in my opinion.
Yeah.
But it could also be another show that's just a Polo and Tail ass anime.
Probably. Yep. And Mappa's doing their absolute thing. All right, moving on to last but certainly not least.
Certainly not least.
Honey Lemon Soda. What is your base thoughts on Honey Lemon Sodas before we get into the spoilers of what happened in the most recent episode?
The second worst anime I've watched in the last 20 years. It's actually, yeah, it was actually, so I watched it when I watched the first episode. I'm not gonna lie to you, I thought I was gonna hate it, especially in that first like few minutes. I was like, oh come on, bro. I was like irritated. I'm like, oh, he's a douche. This is what we're looking at here, right? And this girl is gonna be so easily manipulated. I'm hating it, bro. I'm telling you, I'm hating. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna like this at all. It's good. It's real good though. It's because you realize that he's actually not a bad character, and by bad character, like you can have a character who is bad but written well. And I was hoping that he was going to be at least written well, but he's a character who's good, doing things good for his own reasons, so to speak. And I like him. And then our girl, she's adorable, and it's like we're seeing her. So it's funny. I see a lot of my wife in this girl, and my wife and I are watching it, and I'm like, babe, that's you. That's you.
That's why I said you should watch it with Monique. I think she'll like it.
It's crazy because it's even like she's like, I can relate to all these situations in school. Even it's like, I wasn't bullied per se, but girls was acting like that, and I was like, I feel you. The show is oddly relatable, even though, like I said, I'm not either one of these characters.
Right.
But it's oddly relatable. It's very beautiful. It is so beautiful.
Gorgeous.
And I was even thinking that at first I was gonna hate the eyes because of how the eyes were drawn, but in the placement of the entirety of the show and the framework of the art and everything like that, it all looks very fucking good. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I said this before, but I think this is one of those shows that, because the exact same way you felt at the beginning is exactly how I felt. I'm like, oh, here we go again. Another one of these male protagonists is going to be a complete dickhead, but it's not the case. He is, sorry to interrupt myself, but TK Does Nothing says he's a breath of fresh air that after the asshole from Yakuza Fiance, and that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Like he's the reason why he's like this is because he kind of figured that this will be the only way for her to step up her own self-confidence, to step up her own way of thinking for herself. And that conversation that they had in episode 2, where he was walking her towards home, he was like, yeah, just fucking be a stone, but be that gemstone. That shit made me shed a thug tear. It was such a bar. I shed a thug tear. I had the tear in my left eye just come dripping down my face. It was so powerful that moment there, not only for her, but for me as a viewer. Like, yeah, like that's it. And to see her starting to come into her own and understanding, it's just like From Me to You, like Crystal, I know you're familiar with that. It's kind of just like that, but a lot smoother with this process of getting better within this relationship. It's so fucking good, man. The most recent episode though was interesting because she's on this trip with her classmates and her classmate seems to notice that she's a lot closer to, I gotta get his name pulled up.
Mira.
their classmates start to notice that she's really close to Kai. Is his last name, first name, whatever. Then everybody else is, and we got a little jealousy within that, and it looks like it's about to turn into a big mess. Crystal calls him Blondie. We're going to call him Blondie. Blondie is he kind of put her target on her back without even knowing it this time, because of that one gal girl who seems to want him, and she's upset that he ain't giving her the time of day.
Why would he?
Right, which caused her to then make our girl, unfortunately, Uka, decide that she's going to try to take lead and then lead them in a direction that doesn't seem quite helpful, which is quite nerve-wracking for her to be.
And what's kind of beautiful and scary at the same time about it is that she did gain a lot of confidence in the first few episodes we already had to even get to the point to do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this situation could be, or let's even say could be, because we don't quite know yet, a huge bummer to her confidence that she's gaining. And as a character, because like I said, I'm trying to put myself in her shoes with the newbie that she was, and the almost like recluse that she made herself become from having this social influence. She's too much social influence, so to speak, for her. It could almost be a situation where the character becomes more recessed within herself. And I'm interested to see how it progresses for that, because we know she's going to push through it this early on, hopefully. But I want to see how it happens. And that's what I'm loving about it, is that the conversation, the way he keeps iterating, ask for help, do this, he's getting her to speak up about what she wants to do and what she wants to say. And she's already made leaps. She's already done things, obviously, like with the shaking up the lemon soda and then spraying it on them.
Amazing.
Oh my God, bro. I was like, that's a bar too. Do it again. She's already made huge leaps. But, with huge leaps, you still take a step back. And I'm hoping that it's not a situation. It's something that she learns from, where that step back isn't actually quite a step back. It's more of a comprehensive moment for her to understand and learn.
TK does nothing. Says, I feel like some of those girls are sneak picking on her. I don't think, I think the one that is now, quote unquote, sneak picking on her is the one we just had tell her about the direction in which they're supposed to go. This most recent one. I think the other girls are just are interested in getting to know her because they see that Blondie is interested in her, or the three. I call them the group of three. The fact that they're just super cool with her and they understanding that she's not that awkward. She's just a smart girl who joined this delinquent school.
Right.
And we just want to get to know her now, because they thought she was somebody she was stuck up and too good for them and whatever they felt that was. I think the only one that is sneak picking on her or picking on her are the ones that's obvious, right? And then the one we just had at the end of this most recent episode, which telling her which direction it's going to go. But what I feel, and you can call this a gut check, but I feel like that's going to backfire on her. I feel like they're going to continue to go that way, and then they're going to help somebody. Like somebody's either trapped or something happened, and they're either going to save a bunch of people, and it's going to be because of her, because they decided to go that way, that she gains a little even more confidence, and the other girl gets a little bit more upset, and then she becomes an actual bully as well. You know what I mean? That's how I'm thinking this is going to go. I think her going this way is going to lead to a complete backfire on that gal girl.
Yeah.
This show is so interesting because this is a whole different way of bringing that conversation of lacking confidence that we haven't seen in well, I haven't seen because I don't watch much shoujo, but every shoujo that I've seen so far has been the same. It's been From Me to You, or it's been a condition called Love, or it's been Yakuza Fiance, whatever the fuck that was.
Brother.
But this is different. At least I feel it's different in a better way, because she's building her sense of self first before building a relationship.
Right. right? Do you think she's gonna be able to make those 100 friends that he told her?
Comey can't communicate, huh? No.
Yeah, I do think the show is steeped in a little bit more realism than her to actually make 100 friends. But I do think that like it's the statement overall is that it's more about her coming out of that shell to make those friends. And part of it outside of coming out of that shell to make those friends is being able to stand up to those girls, like you said, that gal girl. If she can stand up to her, say what she means, she might even garner and gain her respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not necessarily make her a friend, but make her someone who doesn't quite try and isolate her or bully her anymore.
Or just be jealous because she's close to Blondie.
Right. Because they all hate her for real.
They do, man. It's so toxic. I don't know. All I know how to say is this has been my favorite show this season. What the fuck? Anilist gave it a 68. I'm so confused. You know what? I don't care. Whatever y'all do. This is, it's so good, man. It's my favorite show for sure this season. Anybody got any gut checks? How y'all feeling about it? If not, tell. This has been episode 286. I'm at Polo Born Fly on all social media.
I'm at King Teliano on all social media.
You can follow our newly created Twitch account, twitch.tv/MikeCheckWaifuWaifu, so you can be a part of the conversation for every live episode at the end of the month. This next month live episode will be February, Black History Month. So it's going to be on the 23rd of February. So mark your calendars at 10:30. Yeah. Next live episode. But as always, I'm at Polo Born Fly. That's King Teliano. We'll see y'all next week. Mike check.
Ishimori was balling in episode 2.
Love y'all. Thanks for stopping in.
You're now tuned into Mike Check Waifu Waifu. Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you?